Hello guys and welcome back. This is Pete Dahlgren. We're building Mears Models F86. And as you can see, I've been very busy. And I am getting ready to do the final shaping and sanding before I start glassing this great big wing. This is a huge wing, guys. It's 9 feet and it's damn near 2 feet wide. It's going to take a lot of material to do it, and getting ready to start doing a lot of the detail sanding. And one of the things is that a lot of guys have asked me about it. Now, I do my gap seals like this, and some guys get a little hung up on things, but I did all my linkages. Everything is fit. The bottom of the wing is built. It is done, and it's been sanded. Wingtips are done. They're right. I got a little bit of sanding to do there, of course, but not anything really huge or major. And then I will flip the airplane over and completely sand that. Now what I'm doing is I'm going over with some 80 grit. And before I flip this over, I'm going to use a sanding sponge. It's going to be about 220, and I'm going to go knock all the fuzz off this airplane. And then I will go ahead and get ready to glass it and this and that. Now, I've got everything glued in place. Everything is working. Everything is done. And I do this stuff on purpose for this because it's very important that these things be working and working well. Now, the hinges are like butter. I mean, they just smooth as glass. And I strongly recommend them if you're building this or any kind of jet. Really, G10 is the way to go. I would have done the ailerons with it had I had them. And it's just a really good, easy way to go and do this. These horns are beautiful. Once they're done and epoxied in, they go in without any issues. The leading edges can be a little tricky. Depends on how you do them, but they're something that's going to take you a lot of time to get in. And with this, the airplane can be disassembled at this point. And then with all the rough shape done, I can actually go ahead and put them together. And it's very important that you do that when you glass them. You want to glass these together, guys. And the reason you want to do is because it's going to lock it in place. It's going to keep it from warping or doing anything just crazy on you. And you want to finish the edges and stuff. Now, the one thing is that I tell people all the time is that by getting all your flight systems and things like that done and fit first are going to be good. And it's nothing to glass those in. It makes them even stronger. One of the big things I want to bring up is that you want to make sure that all your holes were marked, everything's there where your pylons, anything that goes on the bottom of the airplane, make sure it's all done, make sure it's all fit before you glass. And you'll notice I did all my filling first. That was the only wing that really needed it right in there. It was no big deal. I got all my bad spots done. And then the rest of this will be done after it's glassed. It'll be very minor filling, and it actually will be done with a filling type primer. So one thing I tell you guys not to do is over sand your stuff, because if you do, you get a very flimsy wing. Guys, this airframe is extremely strong. And I'm just getting basic shape right now. Anything that's overdone or anything that's like this, if you get anything that's like whatever, you gotta really be careful that you don't have any soft spots in it. If you do, it's too thin. Do your body work after you glass it on it. Do a lot of your preliminary filling on there. But guys, you're going to find out that once you got this glass, it's wavy. And that's understandable the way that works. It just does. But if you've done it the way I told you guys and the way I've showed you, you're not going to have any issues. Now, there's going to be a lot of parts, and I'm going to spend the whole day getting this place cleaned up because the build is actually, it's all over the floor. As soon as I get done here, I'll wipe everything down. And one thing is, I tell you guys to do, if you got any dings or dents, get yourself some Windex and go through any of your scratches like this. Take a little bit of Windex, spray them, they'll raise. They will come out, but don't flood the wing. You'll warp it. I've had guys come up there and ask this, and it'll warp like crazy. So what we're going to do on this is we're going to use denatured alcohol on this, and we're going to go ahead and get this done. But I'm not going to go batshit crazy on getting it super wet. But what I do want it to do is actually fill everything up in here real well, and then I will put 3 coats of resin on this, and I use 1 coat like a primer coat. You only really need to do 2, and you can squeegee it on there if you're really wanting to do it. You can, and you just might try it. I've never really tried squeegeeing the resin on this stuff before, because for number one, it just doesn't lay out well enough for me, and I like to use it kind of like a primer, so I like it to flow out. Now, before we get ready to go and do the glassing, I will only bring the cloth up to here, and I will cut it off, and I'll lay it. I don't wrap anything. It's just, it just does too much crazy things to mess with it that much. So when we're done, we'll get some 2K primer. We'll primer these. We'll block it. It'll just about all disappear. And then we'll do all of our filling and everything as we need to. I'll show you the guide coat procedure on this, and then we'll get it ready for panel lines. One thing is, we've got to watch our weight. So we're going to go extremely thin on this primer. So we want to make sure what we're doing right now is actually taking the excess weight we don't need off of this. And one of the big things that's kind of an issue about these is that when you do get them built, they kind of like to act really, really, really strange. And it's kind of unnerving to, I don't know, it's just one of those deals where you just got to kind of go and use your best judgment. I'm not going to say my method is the best. It's just what works for me, and that's what I'm doing. And while that stuff's going, we'll start cleaning up the airplane. We'll get the sprout priming done. I got some body work I had to do here for the nose because they weren't right, and I will over here too. And it's not a big deal. A little filler, and it's a very, very minor fix. And I still got to true that up anyway. So it's not a big deal. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get ready and flip the airplane over again. Now that everything's together, I know where it is. I will leave it together. I might retract the gear just to make it a little bit easier to move around, but it's too tall. It's too big. I have to take the wings off to flip it off, so it's kind of a little bit of an operation to do that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to test everything out. I'm going to sand that gap seal I put in. It'll match up to this one. And you're going to find that the jet is just about, once it's glass, guys, I can put everything together and go fly this thing. It's about ready. It needs some things, of course, but we are going to get it in primer, get the panel lines and a lot of the other stuff on here, and then we're going to take it out and test fly it. And I think one of the big things is I'm getting very excited about it, because we will actually be doing some really cool things with it, with the paint. It's going to be a tribute. I am really big into the camouflage paint jobs, and I just love them. And I want a Vietnam era paint job for this jet, because the fact is it's going to be a POW MIA thing. I want to pay tribute to the Vietnam veterans that are out there. I have an awful lot of them that are very good friends of mine, and they just don't get any recognition. So I'm going to make this actually pretty much a tribute to them, and show them somebody out there actually does give a shit. So this will have a black tail on it with the POW MIA. It's going to be a tribute. It will not be a scale paint job. It's just asking it, but we're going to make it look like it is. It's a sport jet, so we're going to make it as neat as we possibly can, but we're also going to use it to pay kind of homage to everybody else. So everybody that's ever served this country deserves some kind of a tribute, and that's what I'm about, and that's what I'm going to say for it and get this done. So it's not that I'm burned out on the build, because I absolutely am not. This thing is just going to be freaking amazing. That I can promise you. I've got a lot of detail work to do to this, but in order to stay on track, I got to get the wings glass. So I'm not going to show a lot of this because you guys already know this stuff and you guys have done it and you know how to do it. I'll show my thing. I'm going to do a live video on Facebook just because I'm going to record me actually glassing the wings. And if you guys are on that, look on Mears Model Builders and we will get that pretty much done. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to start detailing a lot of these details and doors and things that were not on the vinyl graphics that are on it. And we're going to add quite a bit. So there are things I want to do. There are going to be a lot of things, a lot of sanding and a lot of water working on this thing. And we're going to be doing a lot of plunge molding and a lot of other things. So the build part is done. I'm not going to cover the tip tanks. I'm just going to go ahead and get them and do it. And then I'll show you guys progress as I go. They do look good. They'll look great once they're done. But the main thing is to get this main airplane built so the airplane can be flown. I'll do the tip tank or the drop tanks on it and get those as it is. My focus right now is to get it in the cockpit done and all the details on the outside of this, and start working on getting the scissors built for the main gear as well as the nose, and start making these things that are going to make a big huge difference in this, because if I don't, it's just not gonna be okay. And I just got to get everything kind of done. We're going to be adding some scissors into this, and basically what I'm going to be doing is custom cutting some aluminum pieces and filing them down and making them so that they actually do work. And so I'm going to modify a little bit of what I got here. I will be taking those off to paint those, and getting other little things to kind of dress them up a bit. Carton is building a larger nose gear for this thing, new strut for it for the larger wheel. So it is closer to scale, but the wheels will be all the same size, go figure. And that's because I refuse to make new doors for the back, because I don't want to interfere with they're too close to the spar tube. And I don't want to get too crazy with that. So a 4.5 and then a 5-inch wheel, or 4.5 wheel and 4-inch front is going to be just fine. It'll look just fine. So anyway, thank you guys. We'll see you in the funny papers.